POV, you have to return to work 12 days after having a premature baby at 27 weeks. So that when she is eventually discharged from the NICU, you can spend what little maternity leave you have with her. You try to pump up work every 3 hours, but they're understaffed. Your milk supply is diminishing at 8 weeks postpartum. Will you even have milk available when she gets home? What do other NICU parents do? How can anyone afford to stay home during a NICU stay? How can anyone handle the guilt when you have to work and can't be with your baby? This is America.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amomi, aka Petite Diva, and this video is inspired by a particular video I saw of a nurse who had to come back to work early after having a preterm baby. So she came back to work early so that when a child is being discharged from the NICU, that is neonatal ICU, that she'll be able to spend whatever is remaining of maternity leave with a child after the child has been discharged. And that video made me very, I don't know, I was very sad for her because she gave birth to a preterm baby. She is a nurse. She should have the time to be staying with the baby, and it's not supposed to affect the maternity leave. Now that video inspired me to make this video so that we can talk about maternity leave policy in quite a lot of countries, because I have seen so many policies on maternity leave that made me go, what the heck were these people thinking? Anyway, let's check out what women had to say about the maternity leave that they have had in different countries and how they either enjoyed it or it was a disaster.
I didn't think I'd be the person to come on the internet crying, but here we are. My maternity leave ends next week and I return to work, and I didn't think I would feel so emotional about it. I was literally feeding my baby while I was on the phone with the HR lady, and then I don't know, I just all of a sudden got super emotional. I don't know if it's just me being postpartum hormonal or something, but because obviously I knew the date was the date. I always had the date in my head and I knew when it was, and I had a decent amount of time off too, so I'm really thankful for that, even though it was unpaid. I feel like I've had this struggle for a little bit now because I do want to have a career. I want to be able to contribute for my family as well. Maternity leave has shown me what a privilege it is to be able to stay home and, you know, give my baby my complete attention. And so I think that's kind of what I'm struggling with too, is just the fact that my time and attention will be split in a way, because obviously I want to be as present as I can for my son, but then obviously no, I have to, you know, make a living so that we can continue living. A car came and I got nervous, but I feel like this is a little scattered and I'm just kind of all over the place right now because I'm also only 23, and obviously it was my choice to have a kid so young and early on in my career. I obviously did this to myself. Just like I said, didn't expect it to be this hard of a thing, so I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of putting this out there. If anyone has any personal experience or advice, I would love to hear about it.
Research confirms that postpartum takes somewhere between 2 and 7 years, and by no means a couple of weeks. Therefore, if you had a baby within the past 7 years, you're very likely still recovering mentally and physically, backed by evidence. So please don't be too hard on yourself, especially within the first 2 years after giving birth, because you're definitely still in your postpartum period. How long did your postpartum recovery take? Let me know your thoughts below.
I have a 1.5-year-old and a newborn. My 1.5-year-old goes to daycare, and I'm on maternity leave with my newborn. And I know I'm supposed to be relaxing and enjoying and all that, but I actually feel guilty when I'm not doing anything. I constantly have to be doing something. I cannot sit on the couch and watch a show and not think, oh crap, I need to fold the laundry. or I need to clean something, or I should cut this up for dinner, or I should go organize clothes. It's this constant feeling of I need to do something. And I don't know if anybody feels the same way. Like, I should be relaxing, but I just can't. Is there something wrong with me?
We women have been lied to about the length of the postpartum period. See, they used to say 6 weeks because that was the amount of time it would take for the uterus to shrink back down to size after pregnancy for the average woman. Then they said like 8 weeks if you've had a C-section because like, hey girl, you're recovering from major abdominal surgery, so we'll give you 2 extra weeks. Now scientific studies are actually showing that it takes closer to 12 months or 18 months for the body to heal from pregnancy. Yeah, it takes longer to heal from pregnancy than the pregnancy itself. I have a totally different definition. My definition of postpartum is it lasts as long as it takes for you to heal your body from pregnancy. So for some women, they stay in postpartum forever because they never received the proper support to actually heal from pregnancy. Other women have a shorter postpartum period because they are able to heal faster and they have that kind of support. So postpartum is going to vary for every woman, in my opinion. The good news is this. So many of you are asking like, hey, I'm 7 months postpartum, I'm a year, I'm 5 years, I'm 10 years, 20 years postpartum. Is it too late for me? No. It's never too late. That is the good news, that you can always work on repairing your body from pregnancy. So if you are in pain or you have issues like incontinence, or you're just not very pleased with how your body ended up postpartum after having all your babies, then fear not. Today can be your day one and it is never too late. That's it for today. I'm going to finish making my sandwich and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
So there's always a ton of questions about going on leave starting at 36 weeks, 4 weeks before your due date. So just to clarify, if you do decide to start your maternity leave starting at 36 weeks, it will not cut into your time after the baby is born. Everyone expecting in the state of California qualifies to go on leave starting at 36 weeks. And unfortunately, if you choose to not go on leave at 36 weeks, you can't extend your time after the baby is born. It's just a take it or lose it situation. So unless you have very specific reasons to not want to take this time off, I always recommend taking it because it's literally the best way to maximize the amount of time that you will be on maternity leave.
So in order to apply for maternity leave benefits, you need 600 insured hours in the 52-week period before the start of your claim. You also have to determine whether or not you want to take the standard leave or the extended leave. The standard leave is 12 months. It's payable at 55% up to a maximum of $650 a week, and the extended is payable at 33% up to a maximum of $390 a week. It all depends on your income. You apply through the Government of Canada website, so you can apply up to 12 weeks before the start or before your due date, and you have to apply on the last day of your work. So I applied at the end of my workday, and my employer submitted my record of employment directly to Service Canada, so I didn't have to do that. So make sure that your employer is on top of that. Oh my god, my baby, I have to go get him. So you have to note that when you do apply, there is a 1 week waiting period, which is essentially the deductible that you don't get paid. So you essentially start getting paid from the second week. So I applied online. It was super simple. I didn't need any documentation. I just essentially filled out the form, submitted it, and made sure that the documents that my employer were to submit were submitted in a timely fashion.
$3,695. That's how much money that I am earning a month during my maternity leave. I am doing an extended parental leave. Doing 18 months split with my husband. I am doing 12 months myself, and then my husband is taking 6 months. And the government gives us EI, employment insurance. So the maximum amount that you can receive in Canada is $650 a week. Okay, so that is the cap. It doesn't matter if you're making like $500,000 a year or if you're making, $65K a year. This is the maximum that you can get. But the $650 a week is only paid out for 15 weeks, and that's for the person giving birth, the birth giver, so the mother. So after the 15 weeks is paid out, I start receiving $390 a week for the remainder of my leave. You're wondering, like, how does that add up to $3,695 a month? Well, that's because my company offers us a parental leave top-up. So my company offers parental top-up of 82% of my salary. Let this be a sign for you to only work at companies that offer parental leave top-up for the entire duration, and it's also at a good match point.
Can you work on your maternity leave? Hi, I'm Kate, co-founder of Nugget. We run a page dedicated to maternity leave. So the answer to this question depends on what kind of maternity pay you get, either SMP or maternity allowance. Statutory maternity pay means that you are allowed to do self-employed work, so you could freelance or set up a side hustle, set up a business. And you are also able to work kit days, so you might be able to go back into the office with your current employer and work up to 10 days. If you are on maternity allowance, you are not allowed to do any self-employed work. Your only option for working on your maternity leave if you're on mat allowance is by using your 10 kit days.
So the question is, can you take your maternity leave and your annual leave together? In theory, yes. And this is because while the timing for maternity leave is rather self-explanatory, with regards to the annual leave, it is subject to employer's approval. So therefore, if your employer does not mind for you to combine your maternity leave with your annual leave, then in theory and by law, you can do so.
If you're a working mom-to-be, then this video is for you. Did you know that the UAE government offers 90 days maternity leave fully paid for female employees in the public sector? That's right, you can have 3 whole months to bond with your new baby and recover from childbirth, all while still receiving your full salary. Plus, you also have a number of other benefits, including 2 hours reduced per day for 1 year to nurse your child after returning to work, and access to affordable childcare through government-subsidized nurseries or on-site nurseries. This is designed to help you balance between your careers and family responsibilities. And for mothers in the private sector, you're entitled to 60 days of maternity leave. The first 45 days are paid in full and the remaining 15 days paid at half salary. With the support of these maternity laws, you can make the best out of this special time with your newborn.
It is wild that women in the UK get 52 weeks maternity leave and men get only 2 weeks. This is one of the most unequal parental leave policies for a developed nation in the world.
Statutory maternity pay is paid for up to 39 weeks. For the first 6 weeks, you will receive 90% of your average weekly earnings. For the remaining 33 weeks, you will receive 90% or £156.66, whichever is lower. These figures are in relation to the 2022 to 23 tax year. Statutory maternity pay is paid in the same way as your wages.
Irrespective of length of service, all employees are entitled to 52 weeks of maternity leave. This is made up of 26 weeks of ordinary maternity leave, followed immediately by 26 weeks of additional maternity leave. The reality is these days that we don't very often talk about those two as separate things. The differences in rights and entitlements are so minimal between them that we generally just talk about it as 52 weeks entitlement. And don't forget, there's also compulsory maternity leave within that. So for most employees, that's 2 weeks compulsory maternity leave, which means they cannot return to work in that period. For those that work in a factory, there's 4 weeks of compulsory maternity leave.
Hello, hi. This is just a quick PSA to any mum who has had a baby within the last year to remind you to make use of your NHS maternity exemption certificate before your baby's first birthday. With the certificate, you are entitled to free NHS prescriptions as well as free NHS dental care, and you can utilise the certificate for 12 months after your baby's due date or baby's birthday. Please do not be like me and leave it all until a week before your baby's first birthday. But best believe I am running to Specsavers to book that free eye test.
Why is no one talking about being a mother who's due to return to work after maternity leave and those huge life-changing decisions that you literally have to try and make? I've had 2 children now, and both times I've had to really think and do the calculations and work out How do I get myself back to work? How do I make it work without being completely burnt out, without having a meltdown, without it having a detrimental effect on my mental health? How can I get the balance right to do this properly? It's just hard. As a mum, you really have to think about nursery, you have to think about the cost of it, you have to think about making your children happy, what's best for your children, managing the things at home like the cooking, the laundry, the cleaning, the general life admin that a lot of mums do. And you also have to think about yourself and your career and what you want for your future and how you can balance all of that. I'm not saying it's the same in every household, but in a lot of households, these sorts of domestic parenting kind of tasks do fall onto a mother. I've heard of a lot of circumstances where a dad has been able to take a promotion at work without having a second thought about it because mum will handle the childcare side of things or reduce her hours or do what she needs to do for the family. And often it is the mum's job and it is the mum's career and everything that is impacted. And like the return to work is such a funny phase to be in after maternity leave because you're kind of deliberating back and forth about what is the best thing for you, what is the best thing for your family, how can you get that balance right, and how can you make everybody happy? And that is so hard.
Now in Nigeria, I'm going to talk about the maternity leave policy in government agencies. Now for those that are working in government agencies, so government workers. Now I know that the maternity leave period is 12 weeks. What happens is that you're supposed to take 6 weeks before delivery and 6 weeks after. Now a lot of people don't do that. What they do is that they probably take about 2 weeks before their due date, and then they take the remaining 10 weeks after the child has been born. Some people actually combine their annual leave with the maternity leave. So instead of taking 12 weeks for maternity leave, with their annual leave of 4 weeks, they get about 16 weeks. So when they take maybe like 2 weeks off before they give birth, the remaining 14 weeks is taken after. So they have a longer time to stay with their kids. And in some government agencies, after they resume back from their maternity leave, they are allowed to leave early. Now, as a healthcare worker, if you are doing shift, if your job requires you to do shift or calls, you might not be doing the night calls. They will not put you on the call roster, so you might just be doing 9 to 5. In this case, maybe 9 to 3 during the week, but no weekend calls, no night calls for the returning mother until maybe like I think after 6 months or 3 months. So that's the way it works in some government agencies. Now for private institutions in Nigeria, a lot of them are crazy. I've heard of cases where the maternity leave is like 6 weeks, it's like 8 weeks. In fact, there are some business owners that don't even have maternity leave policies. So when they notice that a female staff has gotten married, they begin to get agitated because they are expecting that after she gets married, she's supposed to get pregnant, and after she gets pregnant, she would want maternity leave. I know particular people who, when their female staff is pregnant, they are already acting in a particular way to try and get the female staff to resign. They will practically make the female staff know that there is no maternity leave policy, and after you've given birth, you cannot really work in that place because they don't have any option for working mothers. They don't want you to be there and say, oh, I have to take my kids for immunization, or I have to take my kids to school, or I cannot find anybody to take care of my kids, so I cannot come to work today. They don't want that situation. So once you get pregnant, once you have started advancing, they begin to tell you like you need to leave the establishment because they cannot accommodate you. If you say you want to stay, when you're during your maternity leave, you will not get paid because they'll be like, the day you don't come to work, you don't get paid. So that is the case of some establishments in Nigeria. But because I came from the government agency scenario, because I was working in a hospital, I was used to the 12 weeks maternity leave and being paid fully. I did not understand why in some countries like USA, in some states, I believe, new mothers are given like maybe 6 to 8 weeks as maternity leave, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why 8 weeks? What are you going to do with the 8 weeks? And I did not get it. And then finding out in countries like Canada and UK that new mothers are allowed to go for maternity leave for almost 12 months, 18 months, and you still get paid. Yes, it's a certain percentage of their salary and a cap from the government. There's a cap to the amount of money they can get per week, but it's still something. And then some establishment will also add some particular percentage of their salary, which I think is cool. I also found out in some places, like within the first 6 months, you get a large amount of your salary. That's from the establishment that you're working with. And then after 6 months, I think you get a lower percentage, but you also might be told to work from home if you want to get a higher percentage. So they are going to send you some things that you have to do while at home, and then when the maternity leave is over, you get back to work. I feel like after 6 months, this is my own personal opinion, after 6 months, the new mother should actually be doing part of the work that she's supposed to be doing at her workplace, because when a woman goes on maternity leave, if there is no option to replace her temporarily, our workload would be on our colleagues, and it can be very stressful. I've been in that position where someone went on maternity leave, and there was no replacement. So her workload was on us, and it was stressful. On some days I was just tired, because you are doing the work of 2 persons. You have sometimes the other person that is supposed to even help and do half of that work is not picking up the slack, and everything can just scatter on your head, and it's just be like, oh my goodness, if I was pregnant now, I would not be here, or something like that. So yes, it can be stressful to the other colleagues that are not pregnant. So I feel like if there is a way that after 6 months, the new mother can help do some things by working from home, like help take care of some duties of her duties, so that the workload on the other colleagues are not much. And I think that if the new mother is being paid maybe like 55% or 60% of her salary, and she is not doing anything to assist with the workload for the colleagues, and if there is no temporary replacement while she's on leave, the remaining money of her salary should be given to our other colleagues. And that's my own opinion. Should be shared, because if they are taking up a workload while she's on maternity leave, they should get incentive. In my own opinion, I don't think that's a bad thing. Even the new mother will not feel like that's a bad thing, because if she was on duty and someone else was on maternity leave, and she had her workload increased because of that person, and they say they will give the incentive, she would happily receive. So I feel like that's a policy that maybe people can implement to just like balance things and let people not feel a particular kind of way when they see a pregnant woman and we're like, oh my goodness, when she goes on leave, we are in trouble, we are going to have our workload increase, there's going to be more stress. I think that would kind of balance things. So personally, I think that the best maternity length should be between 6 to 9 months, where the mother is at home taking care of herself and her child. And then after like 6 months to 9 months, for like maybe 1 to 3 months, the new mother begins to return back to work. But it's like a hybrid situation where maybe she'll come today fully, and then the next day she will not come. So maybe like 2 days full, then 3 days off or something, or she'll leave early. And then after like maybe 3 months, that will probably be like 9 to 12 months, she can resume fully back to work. I think that's the most ideal, in my own opinion. It might not be, but I feel like that kind of maternity leave length plan is okay. It helps to balance a lot of things. I feel like it helps with the new mother to achieve what she wants to achieve while being a new mother, and it's fair to the company. I don't know, maybe I'm not saying something, and maybe 12 months and 18 months is the ideal thing. Personally, I think 12 months and 18 months is too much. I don't know. I think maybe because I don't have a child, but I'm just looking at it from the point of view of the company that she's working with, her colleagues. 18 months on leave, you might be replaced. Because when I think about it, 18 months and maybe you're replaced with a temporary person, and I just think it's going to be unfair for someone to do your work for 18 months, and when you resume 18 months, the person is kicked out. So the person doesn't have a job after 18 months, staying in a particular place after getting used to it. I don't know, maybe there are some people that just do temporary work, just like it, that they will do 18 months one place, go to another place, do 18 months. But I don't know, I just feel like someone staying for 18 months to replace you, and then when you come back, the person is kicked out. It just looks a particular kind of way. And they might think if the person is doing a better job than you, there's no need for you to come back. I don't know. I feel like 18 months is too much in my own opinion. When I hear 18 months, I'm like, wow, that is too long. But I don't know, maybe I'm not seeing something that people are saying, that's why they made it 18 months. I don't know. Any which way, that's my own thoughts about maternity leave. I would love to hear the maternity leave policy in your own country and from your own company or where you work. Did you enjoy the maternity leave? Was it too short? Was it okay? What other benefits were given to you when you took your maternity leave? And if you don't have a child and your establishment or country has a maternity leave policy, do you agree with the policy? Do you think it's sufficient, or do you think that something needs to be done? I would love to hear your own thoughts about this whole topic. So please leave your comment in the comment section so that we can get this discussion popping. Now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe. And don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.